Hello, this time I have something that I want to tell you, and this is the thing I have been thinking about for years, but it's been difficult for me to talk about this. Probably because it's a bit dark subject. It's something that is not easy to put into words, and it's not something that is commonly talked about. This is especially geared for you if you dream about being an artist and becoming an artist, or if you question if you're talented enough, or if you wish that somebody would find you as an artist. I think this might be helpful to you. And if this doesn't resonate, that's okay. And I don't say it in an angry way, but that's totally fine, because we are not similar, we are different. But I'm talking about my own experiences and how I have developed. I started from mixed media artist profile, so that means that I only played with paper and pens and such. Now I'm a gallery artist and I belong to the Professional Association of Painters, the Painters Union in Finland. It has taken me 10 years to be accepted in the art circles and to find the people I want to work with and to find the venues I want to exhibit. All maybe sounds quite glorious and such, but being an artist is tough. You have to be ready for taking risks and living in uncertainty and such. So I don't want to give the picture of being an artist too glorified. But now I want to talk about the part of you that is the main reason why you want to be an artist. I believe that most people have a part of this in their sort of mind or brain. How would I put it? Your mind is not just a practical mind, and everything is not just literally what it is. There's this abstract part and this visionary part in you that is closely related to being an artist. When you want to be an artist, you want to grow that visionary part too. Not only create, but also develop your thoughts and also understand how this artistic part of you thinks and operates. It's often not easy, because this person, if I try to divide my mind so that I have this practical side of me and then this artistic side of me. This artistic side of me doesn't operate and think in the same way than the practical side. So if my practical side, if my conscious mind, I want to be an artist and be a successful artist, for example, that actually doesn't mean a lot to the artistic side. If I want to create, for example, a pretty portrait or things like that, that is not something how the artistic side thinks. The artistic side thinks in a more abstract way, and it has a deeper connection to your thoughts and to your life, to your experiences. Everything that you probably can't put to words. This part is often much bigger, much larger, so that it can get its energy and its ideas from various things, and it also produces much bigger visions than what your practical mind can produce. The artistic side of you sends some formulated thoughts. Your practical mind thinks that these are too big, these are too out of this world, and your practical mind gets frustrated and thinks that you are out of focus, you should just focus on something simple and produce something coherent content, for example. And the secret of this coherency is in a different level than what your practical mind can comprehend. I think that the freedom that you are looking for is in this artistic side and not in the practical side. Your practical side can, for example, go to art supply store and purchase everything or anything and try to mix everything together. But your artistic side is less connected with material stuff. It's much more connected to various little things in your life that it uses as a building blocks for the bigger vision. There can be some incidents that are really insignificant to your practical mind. A bird flies over the sky, or you see a leaf in the light, or you just get a weird feeling for a second or two, or so much small things happen in your everyday life. And all these things are similar material for your artistic mind than, for example, if you browse Pinterest or Instagram, or if you go to art museums or exhibitions and things like that, that your practical mind understands that this is artistic inspiration. But actually your artistic side can be sort of in the background. It's like a background process that gathers all kinds of little things. And when your practical side wants you to be something big, wants somebody to find you and wants you to follow your dreams, your artistic side doesn't actually understand that so much, because your artistic side lives in the moment and lives in those dreams. And what other people think, it's not relevant to the artistic side at all. The society, the hierarchy of the society is not relevant to your artistic side. The hierarchy of the things you see, of the things you experience, is not so relevant to the artistic side. There can be really small things happening around you that is greatly seen as creative energy and creative material for your artistic side. And then there can be big things that your practical side can comprehend and the artistic side can be in the background. It's very easy to mix these two sides so that, for example, you think that you have to be free and you don't have to learn any techniques, or techniques kind of prohibit your growth. If you think like that and think that that's your artistic side speaking, that's not true. Your artistic side is like a child who doesn't have a language yet, and the techniques are the language, and you have to learn the language. You have to learn how to create all kinds of shapes and lines, and you have to learn how you can create depth, and then your artistic side can decide what to pick and what to use. Artistic thinking is not so conscious, so we have to nurture it. For example, in my case, I often write about my artistic visions because I feel that it's important that my practical side talks with the artistic side. And when my practical side sort of learns how to write in the language of the artistic side, when I write these words that would resonate my artistic side may think that, oh no, my practical side got those things wrong. But the interaction is the thing. And in the same way, when my artistic side throws some shapes, then my practical side can think about them. The two sides try to communicate. My practical side can tell me that I have to paint a certain kind of painting for a certain kind of venue or a certain kind of application. But my practical side can only give some guidelines and show, for example, some spaces where the painting should be, and show some kind of demands from the outside world that is there. Often, for example, the size. These kind of really practical things. But then the artistic side has to be able to grow that thing from the vision. Once you develop the artistic vision, then you can almost create anything. Because the vision is so big that there's so much stuff. This happens slowly and it doesn't happen immediately. But I think that you should know that these things, like when you feel that you're out of focus or things like that, these are completely normal, and these are just confusion between the practical side and the artistic side. And it's okay to create for the practical side. When the practical side wants to see something, the artistic side can produce it. But you have to remember this, that the practical side always thinks about your current situation in life. What you should produce, who you should serve, and things like that. And these are much too small, much too moderate for the artistic side. When you want to grow your artistic vision, the artistic side will find its way and it will be much, much bigger. When you develop the techniques and when you develop the artistic vision and you give time for them to develop, then it's about your practical side to see where you can enter your work and how you should proceed. So the artistic vision leads the way. And I think that's a really difficult thing in the artistic direction, that this artistic side that is often unable to speak, unable to communicate because the lack of technical skills, unable to say things in this kind of abstract way so that it won't be interpreted so literally. It's like you're living with a person who can't fully communicate, but who has all the wisdom. This makes the situation complicated. But then when you are able to grow this artistic vision, when you grow your technical skills and you give more room for this artistic thinking, your artistic side starts to lead you. Now you probably ask, how do you find any connection to your artistic side? And I think the answer is childhood. When you were a child, these two sides of you, they were in perfect harmony. And what you dreamed about as a child and how you put it into words, think about that. Your dreams and thoughts were abstract, and your words were very simple, so very literal. For example, I dreamed about being a lion tamer, and I dreamed about lions and safaris and things like that, which was really weird because I lived in eastern Finland in a small town so far away from Africa and things like that. Of course, people laughed, it was just child's thoughts. But the wisdom there was that I dreamed about big sceneries and I dreamed about different kind of ecosystems, building my own ecosystems. I just was so small I couldn't put that into words. What I paint now is most often like that. I feel that the more I paint, the bigger I want to paint and the bigger sceneries I want to kind of master. And this is the common thing with my artistic side now and the artistic side when I was a child. The difficult thing is that when your practical side starts to process these things, the practical side takes it very literally. So you want to paint landscapes, Päivi. And then she shows you some landscape painters and some landscapes that sell and things like that. Really weird stuff for your artistic side. It's can you imagine that the artistic side thinks these kind of things pretty superficial, when the appreciation of other people or the hierarchy of the society is not important for her. It's not important for her to be successful, even if, of course, we have to live, we have to earn money. This is what practical side tries to explain. But what I've discovered is that the artistic side does try to solve this equation, this practical equation too. But it has much bigger thoughts. Often these bigger thoughts require some kind of investment. Investment of time, investment of courage often, sometimes investment of money. It's important for the practical side to realize what kind of investment is needed so that the practical side can do things to provide those. One of the most difficult things is that to get connected with your artistic side, you need to face your fears. It sounds really lame and maybe a bit abstract too. But often your artistic side sees all the fearful stuff, the best material for creating. Your practical side is horrified. I don't know why my artistic side wants to create sceneries that have a lot of water. Maybe because we have an aquarium and my artistic side has often watched the movement in the aquarium. I don't know. But I don't like water. I don't like swimming. I have a fear for water. It's been kind of crazy that I want to paint something that I'm so fearful of. I don't like horror movies or things like that, and still it seems like every painting that doesn't have some kind of monsters, at least in the beginning, is kind of soulless, and my artistic side doesn't get excited about that. The painting needs some kind of conflict and some kind of riddle that I have to solve. And that requires going to the dark side too. That's what I've found. And maybe that's not for you. Maybe you want to create only happy sceneries and you're happy with all that, and that's okay. And maybe people love that, and that's okay. But I also think that sometimes we get confused about what your current people want and like and what your future customers want and like. And so often when we start, we sell our art for $10 or 10 euros or 50 euros, $50, then 100, then a couple of hundred. I've been there. Your audience is different when you start to grow. And this is especially for you if you want to pursue fine art. You want to produce unique paintings, for example. Your future clients are probably people you don't even know. And that's why you need people who know them. So you can't operate alone. And that's the job of your practical side, to apply, to send your pieces, to contact and things like that. And that's much easier if then when you do that you leave the artistic side behind and say to the artist that you don't have to participate in this conversation. The artistic side doesn't want to sell. The artistic side doesn't want to contact. The artistic side is the introvert person who doesn't want to do any of that. But the practical side has often more practical energy, and the artistic side needs that practical side too. I love my practical side because my practical side is quite good at seeing the piece from the outer perspective. What kind of venue, or what kind of exhibition, what kind of forum, what kind of client, what kind of customer I could serve with that piece. Of course, there's this gap that the artistic side is sometimes not skillful enough for the practical side. And I think this is called inner critic. That the practical side says that no, Päivi, you can't send that thing. That's when you just hope that somebody would see that the talent is inside you. You just can't get it out yet. But this is also the practical world, that if you can't show it, then you are probably not going to be found. I try to respect the opinion of my practical side. That when the practical side says that no, Päivi, this is not good enough for that, you have to paint better, then it's a challenge to my artistic side. But the solution is not to bring the practical side there to paint, because practical side doesn't know how to paint. The skill is in the artistic side. The artistic side has to learn the techniques. The artistic side has to learn how to connect the big ideas with all those techniques. Then when she shows the work to the practical side can tell if it's good enough. I think when you mix these two, it's very easy to get all kinds of excuses. For example, think that your idea isn't mature enough. This is practical side talking. Your ideas, you are filled with ideas. It's just how you can bring those on canvas or on paper. It's time to grow your technical skills then. It's quite straightforward when you learn this kind of thinking. That you appreciate the practical side, you put some time for that, you apply, you try to find the next thing you want to achieve. And then you grow your technical skills, you grow your artistic thinking, and you let your artistic side think as big as she wants. Sometimes your practical side thinks too small, and then it's good to test it with the artistic side. So for example, if you are thinking about if you should exhibit there or there or there, where you should exhibit. If your artistic side is not excited about that, then maybe it's not the thing you should do. The practical side is more fearful and tries to do things a bit smaller. But the artistic side has the wisdom to see bigger. And that takes you to the place where your practical side sees that this opportunity would be great, but your artistic side sees that no, to grow your artistry, you have to find something bigger. This is how I've slowly grown as an artist. I've tried to challenge myself, and I tried to keep the conversation going with these two sides.